Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for tuning in. It is Ramadan, day number 8, meaning that it is daily dose, day number 8, with Brother Hazim. What are you wearing?
We said we were wearing this year's mass camp shirt.
No. This year's guys' mass camp shirts.
Can our brother wear pink? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again back to Daily Dose, day number 8 with Hazim and Ayman. So we are in Juz'ah number 8, chapter number 7, Surah Al-A'raf, in verses 11 through 18, and inshallah we'll begin with verses 11 through 13.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقناكم ثم صورناكم ثم قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس لم يكن من الساجدين قال ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين قال فاهبط منها فما يكون لك أن تتكبر فيها فاخرج إنك من الصاغرين.
And we have certainly created you, O mankind, and given you the human form. And then we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam. So they prostrated except for Iblis. He was not of those who prostrated. And then Allah said, what prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you? And Satan replied, I am better than him. You created me from fire and you created him. You created me from fire and you created him from clay. And then Allah said, descend from paradise, for it is not for you to be arrogant therein. So get out, indeed you are of the debased. So let's paint the picture for you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding the angels to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. And in that gathering where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding the angels, Iblis is sitting. Because Iblis was one of the most righteous jinn before this point. When the angels met in Al-Jannah, that Iblis would sit with them and would be amongst their gathering. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them to prostrate, and Iblis was there and he denied. He denied the prostration to Adam alayhi salam. And so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him why, he said, because I'm from fire and he's just from clay, he's just from dirt. And this was the first sin that took anyone out of Al-Jannah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to prostrate and he said, I am better than him. That he was arrogant. And so this is a lesson for us that we should never be arrogant. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all human beings to be equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that no one should treat anyone else differently because of where they're from, because of what they look like, because of the color of their skin. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just, and He judges us on our taqwa, not on our features.
One thing worthy of noting is that both Adam alayhi salam and Iblis, Satan, both of them disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why is it that one of them became, the first prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while the other one became the most accursed of all of his creation? It could be because of the reaction. Let's look at the reaction. Adam alayhi salam, once he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first thing he did was فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. That Adam alayhi salam immediately after he did the mistake and he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he immediately asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his repentance. But Iblis, Satan, Shaitan, أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. He was arrogant, he was proud, he had pride in him, he had vanity in him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kicked him out immediately.
And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in verses 14 through 18,
قال أنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال إنك من المنظرين قال فبما أغويتني لأقعدن لهم صراطك المستقيم ثم لآتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن أيمانهم وعن شمائلهم ولا تجد أكثرهم شاكرين قال اخرج منها مذءوما مدحورا لمن تبعك منهم لأملأن جهنم منكم أجمعين.
So after Iblis denies to prostrate, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him that you need to get out of the paradise. Then what does Shaitan say? He says, reprieve me until the day they are resurrected. And Allah replied, indeed you are of those who reprieve, who are of those who are reprieved. And then the Shaitan says, because you have put me in error, I will surely sit and wait for them on your straight path. And then I will come to them from before them and from behind them, and on their right and on their left, and you will not find most of them grateful to you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied, get out of paradise, reproached and expelled. Whoever follows you among them, I will surely fill the hell with you altogether. So here, after the Shaitan, he is arrogant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is arrogant against Adam alayhi salam. He tells them he's not going to prostrate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him to get out of Al-Jannah. And then what does he say? He wants respite. He wants to spend the rest of his life taking people out of the straight path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he's not only going to take them out, he's going to sit on the straight path, waiting for people to come to him so that he can take them off of the straight path. And then he says he'll come from the front and from the back and from the left and from the right. The Shaitan will find a way to get to you. That if you close one door, the Shaitan will look for another door, and he will find the way until he finds where your weakness, and then he'll expose it. And that's why he says that none of us will be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is what he wants us to do. This is what he wants from the humankind. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him that whoever follows you, you and them will be all together in the hellfire.
This is a point that we should definitely take into consideration, and that's that, subhanAllah, whatever level you're on, no matter how good you think you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can always take you back down to earth. The same way he did with Iblis. He was in the ranks of the angels, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the best of the best, the closest to him. And yet, because of his arrogance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him from that category and made him one of the scum, the scum of the earth and of all creation basically. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do that. And that's why we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not only guide us, but also to keep us on the straight path, and to allow us to pass away and die on the straight path. Ameen. To help you get through Ramadan each and every day, check out the Master Arizona page to get your
daily dose.